well, what about living this story? We have a story, but our story isn't really embedded or a part of God's story. And the good news is God's incredible love, unfathomable love, actually embraces us in the story of salvation for the world. So that the old story, the old story of Jesus who came as an infant, lived as a man, died on a cross and rose from the dead, that old story that is the bedrock of our faith, the faith of the apostles, is a story in which, in many ways, we're the latest chapter.
Follow that. And I just love how the song talks about our story, and we all have a story, and as Christians, we should want to share that story.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it from, a listener's standpoint too. Like you said, everybody has a different story, and like to hear other people's stories. Because we all come with a whole set of life experiences, that have colored us, our stories, and to hear how yours may be similar or very different from somebody else's.
Well, it brings back memories for me. My dad grew up in Oakland, Maryland, and I remember when I was young, we'd go to church. They were Lutheran, and actually I was baptized Lutheran. So, but anyway, I remember one particular, and I think we sang that song that Sunday. I was young, and we had communion, and I didn't realize that the Lutherans did communion just a little bit different than what I was used to, and so I took the cup and just drank it like I normally did, and it really burned. And so when I got in the car, I said, Mom and Dad, why do they offer cough syrup for communion? And they said, it's not cough syrup, it's wine, it's red wine. But it's just fond memories that song brings back of my grandfather, and he was really busy, worked hard in the church over there, and volunteered a lot. He taught Sunday school and did all kinds of things, played the fiddle, and every Sunday he would wear his bow tie, and my son's starting to wear bow ties, and so I remind him of that, and he's musically inclined too, and so the musically inclined part I think jumped over me for whatever reason, but that song does, it brings back really fond memories of that, and every Christmas we'd go up and visit him, and so yeah, it just really spurs on some really nice memories.
It reminds me of my granddaddy too. Mm-hmm. He's been gone about a year now, October 13th. And the week before he died, he loved the Alan Jackson CD of his hymns. And I just remember him singing along to that hymn. And the hours before he died, we played that a lot. And he had such a story, and that made a huge impact on me, and I know others in our church too. But it's funny you mentioned your grandfather. That's the first person I thought of was my granddaddy. So.
I think because I'm in the choir, I think of it too from a musical standpoint. It's one of those nice hymns. It's not really complicated. It's simple. So even if you haven't sung it for a long time, it just comes back to you again.
Oh, it does. Yeah. And the meaning of the song, it kind of says, you learn about Jesus, and you appreciate Jesus, and then you pass it along, and so it's the full meaning of everything, and I think that's why it spurred on the memories of that, because it is being passed along.
Yeah. I think that's why it was so powerful for us that at that moment. I mean, when you're at the end of your life, the stories that you pass on and that faith and
that promise of glory.
Promise of glory, yeah.